When we think about the devastation of conflict, our minds usually go to the ruined cities, the human cost. But there's a deeper, more hidden wound being inflicted, a poison that's seeping into the very ground we depend on for our survival. Today, we're going to dive into the massive soil contamination happening in places like Ukraine and explore a blueprint for how we can begin to heal land that's been scarred by war anywhere in the world.
And look, the scale of this environmental crisis is it's staggering. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what's happening to the soil, the very foundation of life, and more importantly, we're going to look at a real potential path to recovery.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to understand what we're really dealing with. This isn't just a surface scratch. The wound in the land is deep, it's complex, and it has layers of destruction that go far beyond what you can see with the naked eye.
This destruction really comes in three main flavors. First, you've got the chemical damage. Think heavy metals from ammo, spilled fuel from tanks, and all the unexploded stuff. Then, there's biological damage, nasty pathogens getting spread around. And finally, the sheer physical destruction. Craters, soil packed down so hard nothing can grow. Scientists even have a name for what explosions do: bomb turbation. It violently scrambles the soil layers, wrecking its natural structure.
And if you want to talk about scale, just wrap your head around this number. Over 420,000 explosion craters, and that's just in one region of Ukraine. Each one of those is a ground zero for physical damage and a leaky faucet of chemical poisons, repeated almost 500,000 times over.
But the thing is, the craters you can see, they might be the least of the problem. There's an invisible threat lurking just below the surface. Let's dig into the specific chemical poisons that have been left behind, the ones that are silently poisoning the ecosystem. All right, so the biggest, most widespread problem, heavy metals. Just think about it for a second. Every single bullet, every shell casing, every piece of a destroyed vehicle just leaches metals like lead, cadmium, and zinc straight into the soil. And these things don't go away. They get sucked up by plants, they get into our water, and they work their way right up the food chain. The war can literally end up on your dinner plate.
Next up, petroleum. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of tons of diesel, oil, and lubricants just bleeding out from wrecked tanks and bombed-out fuel depots. These spills create these toxic hotspots that completely wipe out all the essential life in the soil and can poison the groundwater for decades. It's like pouring a poison slick directly into the Earth's veins.
And last but not least, there are these nasty organic toxins. This is the stuff that makes explosives go boom, like TNT and RDX. These chemicals are engineered to be incredibly stable, which means they are extremely hard to break down in nature. They just sit there on the soil for generations, killing off the microbial life that keeps soil healthy and alive.
Okay, so that's all pretty bleak, right? It feels overwhelming. But what if the answer wasn't to fight nature with more harsh chemicals, but to actually work with it? What if we could use a kind of natural technology to kickstart the healing process?
Well, it turns out the solution might just be in something called humic acids. You can find these in any healthy, fertile soil on the planet. They're a critical natural compound. And this product, Proto-Humics, or PRX for short, is basically a super concentrated, incredibly pure form of these acids designed to get the healing started.
So how does it actually work? Well, it's a triple threat, really. First, these humic acids immobilize the bad stuff. Think of them like tiny molecular cages that snap shut on heavy metals, trapping them so plants can't absorb them. Second, they accelerate the cleanup. They're like a superfood for the good microbes in the soil, helping them chow down on oil and other toxins much faster. And third, they rebuild the soil itself, acting like a natural glue to restore its structure and bring it back to life.
Now you might be thinking, okay, humic acids, got it. But here's the catch. Not all of them are created equal. The key is purity. A lot of the conventional stuff on the market actually contains its own impurities, like lead and arsenic from the raw materials. Proto-Humics, on the other hand, uses a globally patented technology to get over 95% pure, which means it's not only way more effective, but it's certified to be completely safe and residue-free.
That all sounds great in the lab, but does it actually work out in the real world? In the field? Let's look at the numbers and see the proof.
Check this out, a 39% drop in bioavailable lead. So what does that actually mean? It means that while the poison is still technically in the soil, it's been locked up so tightly in those molecular cages we talked about that plants can't suck it up. It's been effectively neutralized.
And for oil contamination, the results are even more dramatic. In the lab, they've seen an 80% removal of that petroleum gunk just by washing the soil with a humic acid solution.
It's basically giving nature's own cleanup crew a massive energy boost to get the job done way, way faster.
But it's not just about cleaning up the bad stuff. It's about bringing the good stuff back. Look at this cornfield in Austria. The regular, untreated plot yielded about 4.6 tons per hectare. The plot treated with proto-humics, 9.2 tons. It literally doubled the harvest. It doesn't just detoxify the land, it brings it back to life.
And this isn't some one-time fluke. Just look at the data from all over. A 50% boost for wheat in Russia, 44% for potatoes in Austria, even a 19% increase for soy right there in Ukraine. The technology just works. Across different crops, in different countries, it's proven.
So let's zoom out. What does all of this add up to? This is way bigger than just soil chemistry. This is a fundamental step toward rebuilding communities and restoring life after a catastrophe. And one of the most powerful things here is just how flexible this solution is. You can apply it on a massive scale, over thousands of hectares of farmland, or you can use it in a really targeted, high-dose way to clean up those nasty, toxic hotspots. It's even safe enough for people to use in their own backyard gardens to make sure the food they grow for their families is safe to eat.
And this part is absolutely critical. The usual alternative is to literally dig up tons and tons of contaminated soil and haul it away to a special landfill. Can you imagine the cost, the time, the logistical nightmare of that? This technology offers a cost-effective way to heal the soil in situ, right where it is. It's a practical, real-world strategy for recovery on a national scale.
At the end of the day, what we've talked about here is about so much more than dirt. It's about food security, it's about public health, it's about economic recovery. You simply cannot heal a nation without first healing its land. Because when we find ways to restore the land, we are, in the most fundamental way possible, restoring life itself.